intellectual rights, intellectual property rights, and artificial intelligence, opportunities and challenges present. Intellectual property rights are the rights over given to a person over their creation of mind, and they usually give a creator and an exclusive right over the use of their creation for a certain period of time. For that purpose, we have a very special guest today, Honorable Dr. Swapnil Bangali. He is currently the director at Center for ICT and Law, posted at Maharashtra National Law University, Mumbai. And we are very excited to have you here, sir. And without further delay, I request our principal, Dr. Deepa Patil ma'am, to give our guest a welcome address and a brief introduction about his work.
Thank you. Respected dignitaries present in this online webinar, Honorable Dr. Swapnil Bangali sir, Professor Suryoshi madam, respected faculty from all colleges affiliated to Shivaji University, Kolhapur, all student friends from all 8 colleges affiliated to Shivaji University. We have organized one-day interlead collegiate online workshop on subject intellectual property rights and AI, artificial intelligence, opportunities and challenges. The subject we have opted for this seminar is to make students aware about the new avenues they have available in their career, then how they will flourish themselves as the traditional court practice. If we see, number of advocates are there, the cases which the students are getting, they are very less, and the students will get frustrated. So if students see only civil court and criminal court is not a practice opportunity available to them, but apart from it, there are other avenues, there are other law professional opportunities are available. So here we ask to explain this to you, Honorable Dr. Swapnil Bangali sir. In spite of his busy schedule, he has agreed to join us to guide the students. I will give a brief introduction of sir. He is an experienced advocate with a demonstrated history of working in education, management, industry. He skilled in banking, English, leadership, customer service, and taxation law. He had strong legal professional with the education qualification, BCom, LLB, DLL, LW, DTL, LLM, DITL, NET, and PhD. He is presently working as director for the Center for Information Communication Technology and Law. He completed his LLB in 2004, LLM in Constitutional Law and Legal Order in 2006 from Symbiosis Law School, Pune. Simultaneously, he has completed Diploma in Labor Law, then LW, Diploma in Taxation Law, D, Diploma in IPR. He cleared judicial examination in Maharashtra. Dr. Swapnil also completed certificate course on cyber law, cyber security from GNU, Gandhinagar. He cleared NET in the year 2006. He was faculty in Symbiosis Law School, Pune and Aura University, Surat in 2015. He was invited in Berlin School of Economics and Law to deliver sessions on police law and constitutional law. He is instrumental in training the officers of accredited agencies in India on digital evidence and many other legal issues. He has authored a book on information technology law. Such a versatile resource person is with us today. So I welcome you, sir, on behalf of our college, and I hope your guidance will give a new avenue, will open a new avenue to the students who have a legal profession in IPR. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much, madam. Shall we start? Shall I start?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for this opportunity to discuss something which is a very important and contemporary subject in modern times. I thank all the organizers as well as uh, Deepa Patil madam as well as Amit Dravid sir and all other faculty members and fellow students who have given this opportunity to me to talk about something which is becoming part and parcel of our daily life and something which is challenging our legal regulation as well as certain potential elements which probably are new to us. The topic that is artificial intelligence as well as intellectual property and the intersection between it, and no doubt with challenges as well as the kind of I would request the participants to mute themselves so that it will be easy for others to listen. Thank you. If you have questions, you can ask me, no problem, by raising of hands. Okay, fine. So as I said, that the artificial intelligence as well as intellectual property, the intersection between the two, and definitely the kind of challenges that we are facing or we will be facing in future, and then onwards, whatever is there in relation to the legal regulation or legal mechanism that we need to adopt in relation to artificial intelligence as well as the protection of intellectual property in the future times. That is something which I think is a topic that is close to our heart, but at the same point of time, I must congratulate the person who has actually selected this topic. For a simple reason, I would say that it is a mature decision to just see and anticipate that what might come uh, in furtherance, in future. So that is something which is very much visible while adopting or selecting this particular topic. Initially, I must say that when we talk about intellectual property and AI, my first focus in modern timeline goes towards artificial intelligence. It is always said that technology would always keep on moving ahead and it will be advanced and it will challenge the day-to-day things, day-to-day protocols, or day-to-day scenarios that we actually see in modern times. And to put it in the words of the great human being on earth, the great scientist on this planet, uh, Albert Einstein, once he said that it is appalling to note that our technology supersedes our humanity. And that is what the reality is. Sometimes the human element in law is attacked, is destroyed, or it's challenged by virtue of technology. And we all must have to accept this, that we have to regulate technology. The very idea of regulation itself indicates that if something we are trying to regulate, it means that it is going out of hand. It means that it is challenging those set norms, principles, ethics, or those kind of things which could make it more specific, in line with things which we were thinking that our society is probably built on. Now that is something which we have to adopt and understand, and it is something which we cannot overlook at a point of time. So when we talk about artificial intelligence, it is the industry 4 segmentation, as we call it. I mean, first ever industrialization and the understanding which we have actually seen in the 19th and 20th century. All that was just to reduce the human labor and nothing else. But slowly, as we transgressed further, industry 4, that is basically together with the IT mechanism with thinking ability to the devices, has changed the very nature of the devices altogether. And obviously, the devices, the technological devices or the communication devices that we are seeing it today, are not merely assisting the individuals, but are taking decisions for individuals. And that is where the artificial intelligence is superseding too many things which probably in our society are still new avenues. And as Madam has rightly pointed out, those new avenues would keep on challenging the existing setup of legal regulation as well as the kind of substantiations that we were looking at. Definitely, it is a challenging circumstance for all the people at large at the same point of time, for the individual lawyers as well as the judiciary, as well as those who really matter, that is basically the legislature itself. And definitely, there are certain set of circumstances that we need to look into it. For example, in a country like India, where we are living right now, we might be feeling the absence of certain set of legislations, and definitely there are certain set of circumstances which might lead us to thinking or to just make out our mind that there are technological advances which we might not be able to establish it immediately in the near future. There is a reason for that. Just take an example. When Tesla came into market in US or probably in the European countries, there was a huge hue and cry that what this man known as Elon Musk has actually done. That without a driver, how can we run or how can we have a car running on the streets of India? Hmm? Or probably all around the world, that would have been the same picture or the same scenario. Now the question comes is that how much of artificial intelligence that we are ribbing it into, because
Are you Bhandare?
if if at all we are bringing that kind of a scenario into picture, that we are having a vehicle which is not at all controlled by a human being, how it will get controlled? And more than that, if it is controlled, then what will be a challenging circumstance is that if at all something goes wrong, because living in a country like India, we will always feel that one system, one technology, if it is devised or if it is put into force, then probably there would be hundreds of challenges. Now, this is a mindset. Now, naturally, regulating that mindset is one thing, and regulating the technology is the other. Because see, when mobile phones came together with the cameras in India, initially we never thought that it would create a kind of circumstance that we might be looking at. But look what we have done. Within the span of just 10 to 15 years, we started looking at something which is a very personal and a very distinct kind of an offense known as voyeurism. That somebody is clicking picture of somebody when the person is not probably minting himself to be present for the photograph, right? It's a very serious offense against the women, right? Now the current law also says that even though the new law is new criminal law is gender neutral, still voyeurism it's always a woman who is a victim. Now just imagine this, that when the new technology comes in, we are thinking about how exactly the technological viability is there. We are regulating the individual's behavior as well as we are trying to regulate the uh, devices as well. So naturally, when I look at that instance of Tesla coming in, and then we are having vehicles which are automated, or probably those kind of circumstances where now who owns it, or how exactly we are going ahead. It reminds me of a law that was and that is in existence in certain European countries. Just for example, if we see the European continent, especially if I look at Germany, Germany has a law which is called as vehicle automation law. Now, we all know that we are also coming up with new segments of vehicles. There are so many vehicles where we do not have to push the gears. It's like, automatic transmission, or AMT as they call it, or completely manual transmission is not required in the vehicle, so on and so forth. But just imagine this, that when we are, going one at a step, when we are having the vehicle completely run without a individual essence, like there is no individual intervention there in the running of the vehicle, there might be certain questions which might come to our mind. Firstly, if it is not controlled by human, then definitely how exactly are we looking at the liability per se for that vehicle? Because being into that first gradation of uh, automation or users generation, as we call it, the first generation of uh, new technology, they would always have that hesitancy and a challenge in the mind. How this work, this whole system or this device would work. Now this is where what happens for the lawyers is that we have to figure that out, that how exactly the liability could be seen in the law. Now just take for an example that if something goes wrong on my mobile phone and it starts circulating some ugly messages, notorious messages, defaming messages to people at large, will my phone make me liable? Even if I can claim that, see, my mobile phone itself is hacked or it is functioning something in a manner in which I do not propose to or do not intend to, will I be liable for it? Now, the first thing first, always remember this thing in law, that there exists an element of tort law in terms of technological ownership and liability in every single scenario. Now, what exactly I am trying to pretend? See, a very basic fundamental understanding. I personally consider every single device is like a pet. Many people have the pets, they have cats, they have dogs. Uh, I'm not here to discuss about animal rights, but just imagine this. They treat it like, with due care and all of that. But see what happens. If let's assume uh, somebody's dog bites the neighbor, can the concerned person take this defense that, see, I didn't beat the neighbor, it's the dog, so you cannot sue me, right? But see what our law of tort says. Our law of tort actually indicates that when it comes to any property, if a property goes out of hand and it actually damages or causes any kind of negligence to the other and causes loss to the other, the person who holds and owns the property or who can easily establish the control over the property is definitely responsible. Now, this is what the law of tort says in terms of negligence. So basically, it is all about escaping the liability, right? Naturally speaking, it is about escaping the control over the property. Now, please understand this at every instance when the law looks at certain things. We have to understand that whatever kind of artificial intelligence I am using, I repeat again, whatever kind of artificial intelligence I am using or any kind of technological device I am using, I cannot take a defense here. Sorry, I do not have the intention. हो गया गलती से, right? I cannot have that thing. Now, this is where there is that basic understanding which is created even in the Germany law in the law in Germany. What they said, that if you own a automated car, which is to be driven automatically, just you have to set the location where you want to travel, correct? If this is the scenario, if this is the situation, the challenge would be that the owner is always responsible. His liability would always come into existence. But now if we create that, if we say that at all times the owner will be responsible, it will be too harsh to own the car that way. Because suppose I have located it clearly that I want to go to particular chowk in Satara, right? The vehicle is going very smoothly. There is no challenge. There is no problem with the vehicle. कोई problem नहीं है. It is traveling well. But when the location comes, it was expected to park itself. The car should park itself on the left hand side of the road where it is not coming in between the actual usual set of traffic in the middle of the road. Now, suppose due to some technical failure or artificial intelligence, which is basically, you just see the two words, artificial intelligence. See, we always say that man is the most intelligent animal on the planet. But please remember this, that henceforth, there are two segments which will be very, very challenging in terms of artificial intelligence. Actually, what is artificial intelligence? So artificial intelligence is that part of technology which has two modules. One is an inbuilt system of decision making, which the device is made of, or the purpose of the device is made of like that. So, for example, if I say uh, there is an automation with respect to the machine which is for the purposes of washing the clothes, washing machine. Hmm? So it is inbuilt. It will not do beyond uh, the idea of washing the clothes. उसका capacity उतना ही है. Hmm? So we'll say that is the first module. It is fed. It will do only the thing which is supposed to do. Hmm? So basically it is like saying washing machine है तो औकात में रहो, washing करो कपड़े का, दूसरा मत सोचो कुछ. Don't go beyond it. So basically it is instructed in the device right from the beginning that you are meant to have only and only washing of the clothes, दूसरा कुछ नहीं. So it is fed in system, it is built in system. So certain set of instructions and knowledge is devised into a particular device, and only that much would be done, nothing else would be done, right? So that is a limited scope with the artificial intelligence that we have. That is first segment. The doubly dangerous segment is the second one. Second one, as a matter of module in the artificial intelligence, is which is called as machine learning. It is basically the device is trying to learn from the experiences and from whatever is happening around it. Now, that is an uncontrolled phenomenon. So suppose, for example, there is an AI-based device which actually tries to tell us that, see, there are three things which it can do, but it has the ability to learn the fourth thing by its own anticipation, by its own experience, and it actually does it. Now the problem is it becomes an uncontrolled phenomena. Why uncontrolled phenomena? For a simple reason that whatever experience or whatever learning that device is carrying, that is beyond the scope of its maturity of the device. The owner, the lawyer, the law professional, or probably the judge, or even for that matter, any existing law for the timing in force, does not have any control over it. Now, that is something which is a crucial aspect where we have to draw the line in terms of law. Machine learning hai, so naturally the machine is learning. But what it will use as a matter of that learning, that knowledge that it has gained for their own usage is not known to us. It will probably react in a very distinct way. It will probably react in a very, not so sophisticated way, and would pose a very different challenge. So there are two segments of artificial intelligence. Always remember it. One is what is fed into it, which is built in, and the other is machine learning. It is learning on its own. Now, what is difficult is to control what they apply after learning. So I'm not more worried about the first set of artificial intelligence, but I'm worried about the second one. Today, the challenges that we see are associated with the machine learning. It's the second module which is creating the trouble for artificial intelligence, because we do not have control over it. Vehicle automation is a good practice. Whatever is fed into it, it will do. But that last minute experience, कि हाँ destination आ गया, भीड़ नहीं है, as a car I am stopping here. अरे but Baba, you are standing right in the middle of the road. The road is not owned by you. है ना? So now these are the segmented challenges which would come into play, and we don't know how to deal with it. Now, that is where the legal regulation might create a big challenge. Basically, what first and the substantial most question in artificial intelligence is who owns it? किसके मालिक, किसके मालकी का है? Who owns it? Who owns the artificial intelligence? The user or the manufacturer? That is the question. And obviously, once we are able to decide it, that in what circumstances who is liable, then the things are very much sorted out. There's a reason I say always say artificial intelligence comes with two basic questions. First is who owns it, and second is who is liable. If our law is able to address this, who owns it and who is liable for it, half of the headache in respect of artificial intelligence will go away. Today, people are feeling the challenge raised in law because of artificial intelligence is for a simple reason, because they are not able to guide the answers of these two questions. First, who owns it, and second, who is liable for it. If you are able to answer it, majority of the things would get sorted out. This is one segment. Now let's talk a little bit about the intellectual property as well, because it is a connected subject matter. We all understand what is intellectual property, right? It's the human creation, it's the creation of the mind, it's the creation of the intellect. And obviously, whatever we have created, if it is attached together with the rights of the individual, which are recognized by the state, which are having monetary set of rights, which are having exclusive set of rights, they become intellectual property rights, right? So patent, trademark, copyright, all these things, they are intellectual property rights. They get created, they get into existence because of the individual's existence, individual's efforts. And those need to be recognized. So they are recognized by the states. So chalo, you have invented something, we are giving you a patent for that product. 20 years, no one else will be allowed to produce that, manufacture that. You do it on your own. Nobody will be a competitor for you. This is an exclusive right of creation, invention. So patent. Nobody should be copying your substantiation. Nobody should be able to copy what you have created in terms of your intellectual work, which is basically a literary work, artistic work. You would say, fine, it is copyright for me, right? If somebody is a good seller with all kind of goods, or probably any particular marketed thing, you will say it comes with a brand. So that brand, that trademark comes into existence, and we say, yes, there is a mark in existence, right? So that establishes the brand. It distinguishes you from other people, right? There might be competitors in the business, but you are recognized by some name. And that name, that brand is nothing but the trademark. Nowadays, people are going even further. Earlier, that mark was just merely a combination of color and numbers and lines and geographical elements, nothing more than that. Geometry elements, right? Now, taste is becoming a mark for identification. Flavor as well as smell is becoming mark. You might be knowing Cadbury, you know, all of us probably have a fond memory of our childhood for Cadbury chocolates, right? So other chocolates are there. There is no problem. We like chocolates. There is no question of not liking the chocolates. But see, Cadbury had specific set of smell, and probably it is there right in our memory that what kind of smell it is. आज भी बचपन का वो स्मेल दिमाग में होगा. So whenever you have Cadbury around it, you get to have that smell somewhere. Abhi bhi, for some who literally liked that Cadbury chocolate, would probably have that smell in their mind. हाँ, वैसा वाला smell. Now see, that is where it is. All these intellectual property rights are coming with different denominations today. Worldwide, they are accepted. Now, what is the intersect between the artificial intelligence and intellectual property? Please remember this. Artificial intelligence is slowly taking the which was earlier human beings replaced. Only the individuals are getting replaced. So naturally, the machine is becoming more important. Now, just imagine intellectual property created by an individual. Suppose tomorrow, if it is created by a machine, so now in those circumstances, who shall be the owner of the intellectual property? If IP, if intellectual property is created by the device itself, because अगर machine learning वाला device है, just imagine if it is a, a device which is having an ability for machine learning, can we say that IP is owned by the device? Will be a question mark, right? Because there are segments that are coming up today. You might have heard about something which is being very regularly used as chat GPT nowadays. पता होगा आप लोगों को, right? Might be aware of what is chat GPT. People are writing, creating, researching through chat GPT. Give it a topic, just type a topic over there in chat GPT. The creation becomes so easy. It will give you hundreds of choices in terms of creation. Your faculty members, your seniors, the senior lawyers, the last generation lawyers, you might have seen. They all must have told you, यार, you should do research. करो research. बहुत research करना पड़ेगा, बहुत ढूंढना पड़ेगा. The modern element, what is happening is that probably after one generation we will say, research कौन करता है? Machine will do the research. We are not doing anything clerically. See, this is the difference. Earlier segmentation of the human mind was such that you must know. You must know what to do. You must learn from your experience. You must read. You must, follow up. You must be mulling over the subject matter where you are not getting the solutions. Now, what is happening? Now, all that element which creates a burden on the human mind, either mentally or physically, is getting decided and is getting operated by whom? By the device. Now, that is where there is a challenge. If artificial intelligence is given a personality in law, legal personality in law, then the scenario is totally different. But if it is not given as a personality, whole liability and whole ownership would be towards the individual who owns it. Small segment, but very important. Please remember this. If artificial intelligence is denoted with the personality, legal personality. अब legal personality क्यों? Why I'm talking about this? What is this? Just to hint, the first artificial intelligence being based, or rather machine learning based robot, which is called as Sophia, was given citizenship of United Arab Emirates. She serves majority of the people. Just imagine, there is a robot who is having the citizenship. Machine learning है पूरा का पूरा. It is capable of learning everything. So whatever it is learning, it will respond. Correct? Definitely, once it has the citizenship, एक बार citizenship आ गया तो क्या होगा? It will be recognized together with the rights. If a concerned party is given the citizenship, it will naturally have rights. So what will happen? There will always be a question mark raised in respect of how we will protect those rights. अब वो ठीक है, सोफिया यूएई में चल रही है. How about something when we say that artificial intelligence based, machine learning based individual unit is given citizenship? कितना बड़ा question mark आ गया. If it is having the legal personality, it is given as citizenship. So things are totally different. Now it will start claiming the rights. Correct? But now, is it possible all the time? Because majority of times people are thinking that if it is artificial intelligence, a human being is using an artificial intelligence. So क्या होगा? I am using it. We are not concerned about what that machine can do after a point of time. But the real problem is that, see, if if AI is given a personality, it holds a different segment. But when AI is serving the owner will become responsible, and owner will also have the creation rights for IP. But the minute we say AI is recognized as a separate entity, the scenario completely changes. Legally, we are not able to form regulation or rules for segmentation of personality of AI as well as the liability of individual who owns AI. Today, the real issue is that. Imagine this. Few days back, there was a big question mark raised about drones. We know you might be knowing 2021 India came up with drones regulation. पहला drones regulation India में आया. Luckily, I was also part and parcel of making those rules regarding drones. But just imagine, drone है, it is being charged, charging किया उसको, battery है उसका, and we are trying to control it with the battery with the remote control. We're doing it. But let's assume that the drone goes up to 40, 50 feet high in the range of, let's say, half a kilometer, 500 feet away from us. So it has a very nice capability of, performing all kind of functions and hovering through the remote control. Now the question is, suppose at a particular time, the control over that device is lost. It may happen, device है, machine है. अच्छा खासा भगवान ने बनाया हुआ इंसान खराब हो सकता है, तो डिवाइस क्यों नहीं खराब होगा? हो सकता है. The question is, for whatever happens to the device and whatever the device would be capable of doing, who is liable? Recent past, many people might not be even knowing about it. In a very recent past, just 1 or 2 months back, a mutilated drone, which has come from China, was hovering towards the northeastern part of India. And when our Indian government is like, with China and Pakistan, we cannot take any risk. So our government has immediately responded back and said that ये हटाओ किसका है भाई ड्रोन ये क्यों आ रहा है हमारे टेरिटरी में उड़ा देंगे उसको. Nowadays Modi ji is not even tolerating all that nonsense on the border. वो ठोक देते सीधा. So naturally, was a concern. So the response from China or Chinese government was, it is mutilated drone, हमारे कंट्रोल से बाहर है. हमारा कंट्रोल नहीं उसके ऊपर. It has lost the control. We are not aware what to do with that. हमें नहीं पता चल रहा क्या करें. So the response from Modi ji was also very strong. Response from the central government is also very strong. हमने पता है एज ए गवर्नमेंट क्या बोला. हमने कहा अच्छा कंट्रोल में नहीं है ना आपके, चलिए हम कंट्रोल में लेते, ठोक देते, इसको गिरा देते, फिर हमारे कंट्रोल में अपने आप आ जाएगा. तो दिस इज नो वेट, कोशिश कर रहे हैं हम लोग. वी सेड नो नॉनसेंस प्लीज, no tolerance on security, national security. If you do not bring this drone in your command, in your custody within the next 30 minutes, on the 40th minute, we will target it. And for the betterment of all of us, luckily or with the precision, within 30 to 40 minutes, the drone was taken aback. What it naturally means, that when it comes to artificial intelligence or when it comes to a decisive understanding, manipulation and malfunction both are possibilities. So when the person who is owner is doing something which is manipulating it, the content into it, manipulating the use of it, we can say there is always a liability existing against the person. See, what matters to the most of us is money or mentality. Only two things, money or mentality. Here, the possibilities in AI are only twofold. One is either there is a possibility of manipulation or there is a possibility of malfunction. Now we need to have the solution for this. Yes, Sanjay ji, if you have a question, you can ask. Yes, please. Somebody raised a hand. Nine? Okay, then I'll continue. So basically, there is this very simple understanding that either we have manipulation or there is a malfunction. Now the question is how to regulate either of the two things or both the things. If there is manipulation, You have to prove the manipulation. Legally, we are not in that kind of a zone today to say that we are competently dealing with everything that could be, manipulated on the uh, front of artificial intelligence or whatever is manipulated. Are we in a position to deal with in terms of malfunction? Well, that is also the concerned party which selling the artificial intelligence would always say, हमारा responsibility नहीं है, चला आप रहे हो, हम नहीं, हमने तो डिवाइस बना के आपको दे दिया, you use it. This is where the catch point is. We have to have that segmented understanding every time the question comes. Now, just imagine when we are talking about intellectual property, creation is the most pivotal subject matter. The real substance lies is who created it. So if I say there is an artificial intelligence which is actually supporting or creating intellectual property, who owns it? If that is not clear in the law, the challenges would be manifold. And that is the reason I said, if at all, at a given point of time, we do not address all these small issues, it will be a very big question mark. And let me tell you and me, we are discussing things in terms of legal parameters with legal understandings. Will all the people around the world will be thinking like that? The problem is no, they might not be thinking alike. Artificial intelligence can be used to create intellectual property. Yes, we agree. It can be used to protect intellectual property. Yes, we agree. Can somebody think of? It can be, artificial intelligence can be used to breach intellectual property. Now that is where the segmentation comes in. The problem is the use of that device or that artificial intelligence is so manifold that legally speaking, we will not be in a position to judge it by its use unless and until we segment it to the perfection. The problem is of segmentation. And as they always say, in India, right from year 2000, since the Information Technology Act came into force, the major challenge what we faced is people are of two natures. One, those who are aware of law and those who are aware of technology. Unfortunately, our educational system has never integrated it to say that you are technologically superior and you are also aware of law. Very few people are able to manage that balance. And those who have managed that balance are actually running the whole show. That is where the catch point is. Fortunately or unfortunately, either manipulation or the malfunction in terms of artificial intelligence might affect the intellectual property as well. Either it can protect intellectual property or it can create or probably can protect IP or probably it can destroy or breach IP. See, the spheres in terms of artificial intelligence would be limited. And if they are limited and if they are functioning properly, then the scenario is totally different. If it is converting that liability into loss, or if it is converting that manipulation into loss, there is a huge challenge. Just imagine if an artificial intelligence module is used for the purposes of breaching the copyright or breaching the privacy of the individual, or even for that matter, the data protection. The data has been stolen, or rather, the data has been conveniently interpreted by something like Chat GPT. What will happen? All your research, empirical research, this type of research, that type of research will all go vanish. Why? The device has already done it. And human mind might have a fatigue. The device may not have a fatigue, so it will do it in quick span of time. Imagine what we are up to. Hmm? Just a small example. We write something, people say please go and have a plagiarism check karo kitna copy hai kitna nahi hai. You know what the challenge is? The challenge is that if I am checking the plagiarism in my content that I am trying to create, the plagiarism check will not take more than half an hour. PhD लिखने के लिए 4 साल लग गए, 3 साल लग गए, लेकिन plagiarism check करने के लिए 2 घंटा. That means the restoration facility of that device is so high, is so integrated that human efforts are almost negligible over there. In such circumstances, when the creation of IP and manipulation and protection is running together with the device through artificial intelligence, how to segment it? It will be very difficult. And as a reason, there will be a hell lot of challenges. See, also do not expect that every single question would be answered by law. Don't expect that. Don't expect that at all. Why I'm saying this? Because see, law cannot reach in every corner. Na? There are certain zones where law cannot reach. We might have to keep it out of the scope of the law. And that is where the answer lies. See, practically, whenever you are creating a legislation and a policy or rules for use of AI, we have to be neutrally clear in our head what kind of segmentation are we talking about. I, as an individual, might not feel any problem with artificial intelligence with inbuilt system. I am seeing the problem which is more of on the other side, the second segment of artificial intelligence, which is associated with something like, machine learning. If learning is there with the device and if it is given with personal identity, like what was done to Sophia in UAE, we will face the music. We will definitely face the music. We will have to see the traditional set of law addressing or answering the segmentations that we had never seen before. That is where it is. Practically speaking, there can be a completeness within the structurization of technology behind AI, but there can be a limited use of AI. There can be a conditional access to AI, which people are forgetting. When we are having limited access, when we are having conditional access, when we are having complete utility of AI, based on that, you can create the legal regulation, not without that, right? So there are multifaceted factors to this. See, the world is turning into a virtual reality now. You and me, we are just sitting across all 100 people out here. We are all connected with each other. We can hear me, I can hear you, you can say something, I can say something. It's all possible without even physically being close to each other, right? This is the advancement in terms of usage of technology. It's all about the mindset, as I said in the past. Problem is the regulation. Hmm? Just to see what happens with all of us. When the signal is not working on the streets, we take it for a ride. We think, हाँ चलता है, क्या problem है? Even regulating our conduct and our behavior within 100 people sometimes becomes a challenge. Because practically speaking, our technology is sometimes going out of our content, out of our knowledge, out of our usability, out of our ability to understand, and then it creates a problem, right? Now, just imagine if that uncontrolled phenomena results into a loss to an individual. Will there be a challenge? The answer is yes, there will be a challenge. Is law sufficient to deal with it? Probably today we would say it is in transformational stage. It will require some rampant changes in the law. See, the bigger challenge, which is also, I'm a kind of a positive person, so I would always say this, that behind every challenge there is a possible opportunity. So all these lawyers who are affectionate towards technology and affectionate towards AI, please remember, come up with some logical conclusion, come up with something kind of a matter of suggestion, how you will regulate. Because currently the subject matter is unregulated. Currently the subject matter is not specifically regulated, if I may correct myself. And when the things are not very clear in law, there is an ample opportunity of research into it. And research not merely by sense of like what should be done, but actually looking at it that how it could be done, execution level. That is what is required. Other than this, there is one more area, like for example, collusion of rights. IP creates that as a matter of very good example. It's a very interconnected phenomenon altogether. There is a device, there is an artificial intelligence applied to it, which actually is owned by me. I am using it for IP. I am using it for creation of intellectual property. मैं कुछ patent बना रहा हूँ, मैं कुछ invention बना रहा हूँ, which could be patentable. So I am owning it. In country like India, we do not have that Sophia like structure के हाँ इसको चलो आज से इस machine को Indian citizenship कर दो. कह दो. We are not doing that. We are still yet to settle out our physical issues. Forget about the technical issues. Hmm? So now in those kind of circumstances, recognition of rights as well as collusion of rights might also occur. I am using it for IP creation, but the machine is also learning at the same point of time. And once the machine is learning at the same point of time, what is the grave challenge? It might create its own IP. वो application file करने नहीं जाएगा, but it will have the capacity to create IP from its own learning, own experience. When and how we'll be able to segment it? The answer is neither written in the technology books nor it is written in the law books. These are the areas. Observance, surveillance, probably issue regarding privacy. All of us, we are aware of that. We say that there is a privacy regulation in force. We need the privacy of the individual as the core element in every single legal system. Absolutely fantastic. Absolutely aware of. We respect that. But is it the final mode with which we would accept and agree to the extent to say that हाँ चलेगा कोई problem नहीं है, even if the machine creates an intellectual property I don't mind, and let me also create IP and let machine also create an IP. The problem is it will overlap some fine day, and that overlap would be the most difficult thing to deal with. See, human mind is too sharp. It analyzes few things fast. It tries to come out with the logical, conclusive solution to the problems that it is facing. Somebody few days back came to my office and said, "Sir, future water will be a most costliest commodity because पानी धीरे धीरे कम हो रहा है, जल स्रोत कम हो रहा है, environmental challenge. So I am planning to create a device which could bring out water from the atmosphere. Atmosphere से पानी निकालेगा, hydrogen and oxygen be pulled out from the atmosphere, and from there the water will be created." That was his brilliant idea. Just imagine. He said, "Sir, can I patent it?" I said, "You can, but then you need to show it, na? Some device, something." He said, "Sir, it's right now there in the mind. यहाँ है. I know few modalities, but I do not know it completely." I said, "See, unless and until you completely come out with that, logical flow of arrangements of your invention, कोई मदद नहीं कर सकता आपकी." He is futuristic. He is thinking ahead of time. But I cannot do anything for him unless and until he come out with something substantial in physical form. But then his question, the person's question puzzled me even more. You know what he said? उसने कहा, "सर, अगर मैं आज कुछ नहीं करूंगा ना, तो ये पॉसिबल है ना कि कल उठ के कोई और ऐरा गैरा ये आइडिया यूज करके यूटिलाइज कर लेगा?" तो मैंने उसको कहा, "बेटा, आपको ऐसा लगता है कि यू आर द ओनली पर्सन ऑन दिस अर्थ टू थिंक समथिंग लाइक दिस? ढूंढ के देखते हैं, देयर माइट बी अ पर्सन हु इज प्रोबेबली ऑलरेडी वर्किंग ऑन दिस काइंड ऑफ अ फेनोमेना, एंड देन इन दैट केस you probably have only one chance to just say that you started the work on priority, not the concerned person." और आपके और मेरे सरप्राइज के लिए ये बात बोल दूं, अब आप कहेंगे, "सर, आईपी लॉयर है, आपने ये बताया क्यों?" ये इसलिए बता रहा हूं बिकॉज देर आर 13 पीपल ऑलरेडी वर्किंग ऑन दिस प्लैनेट, अलग अलग देशों में. When we search, we got mind-boggling results. There are so many people who are doing all this. 13 लोग पूरी दुनिया में, 13 people trying to absorb the water substance from the atmosphere together with hydrogen and oxygen. We are thinking that we are fast. The person who is using artificial intelligence thinks that he is fast, ahead of time. But there is always a challenge to it. And definitely all these issues, challenge to IP, challenge to creation, challenge to protection, challenge to data protection, all they hint towards only one thing, that there would be too many legal complexities. I was talking to my father about metaverse few days back. He said, "ये क्या बला है? What is this metaverse?" I said, "Sir, Dad, कुछ नहीं, ये metaverse ऐसा है कि virtually also there can be a world, पूरी दुनिया है virtually, चल रही है. So if I buy some shares and buy some stake and buy some subscription, I can also virtually exist. You know, fathers are always eye openers. I always believe mothers are caretakers, but fathers are eye openers. आँख खोल देते हैं सबकी. So my father gave a very crude reply, a typical banker's reply. He said, "क्या?" I said, "नहीं dad, वो virtual reality, it exists virtually. So what I do in virtual world is the subject matter that they look at. वो ऐसा virtual create होता है." So he said, "अरे यहाँ पे जमीन पे ठीक से रहने को नहीं होता लोगों को. तो virtually क्या करेंगे? I don't know." But man had a point, just not because he's my father, but still he has a point. We are not able to solve our own problems on day-to-day basis, but we are creating a virtual reality for us. The virtual problems would lean out into a virtual problems in terms of virtual world. But the problem is that it would affect our physical world. For all that, we might not at all times will have a legal protection. And that is what we need to understand at every single time. Intellectual property is a very big segment. We are having not just one but multiple rights. As the reason they say intellectual properties are a bundle of rights, not singular right, bundle of rights. Imagine the creation is a pivotal segment in IP, and if that I divulge into an artificial intelligence like structure, which is coming up with machine learning ability also, there is 100% chance that it would have a greater impact on intellectual property altogether. All said and done, we know the challenges. We know how exactly it is going to be complex as a matter of life. Where are the opportunities? What are the challenges? एक छोटा सा कहानी जरूर बोलूंगा that might open up your eyes. See, you can like technology, you can dislike technology, you can hate technology, but you cannot ignore technology. Why? Because that is going to occupy your life very soon. Probably in the year 2000, 2005, 2010, हमने नहीं सोचा था कि एक ऑनलाइन सेशन में 100 लोग बैठ के सुनेंगे, स्वप्निल बंगाली भाषण देगा. We didn't think of it. But surrounding circumstances made us think likewise. Imagine if COVID wouldn't have happened, the world wouldn't have virtually come together. Right? Same way, the other way around. Circumstances taught us why to use the model technology to have better communication. Are we still in that process of adapting everything that we could? Answer is yes, we could, we can. But is that adaptability only towards technology or towards learning and enhancing the skills is another question. And also, are we learning by those mistakes that we had committed, or is there something else? A funny incident I will share with you. I just happened to share it, just, see it myself few days back. We were in a technological conference somewhere in Bangalore. It was an international hacking conference. And what the organizers did was they brought in all the kind of robots and high-tech machinery. And it was very sophisticated, invitee-based applications that they were bringing in. And they said, like, come what may, all you have to come together and discuss technology and law. I was also invited to talk about the automation and law and so many other things, the way I am invited today. But it was a physical mode. So we all went to Bangalore. And the whole organization was there, I think, in a very big hotel. I think it was Hyatt where we had met. So what happened was, when the dignitaries used to come, when we went over there, instead of greeting it individually, actually the robots were carrying us into the hall. चलिए आपका एंट्री इधर से जाना है. The robots were actually taking us in. Now the challenge was, there was a 60-year-old guy, 60, 65 years old guy, who was also a speaker. When he came in, he was handed over with the bouquet by the concerned robo, and he accepted it, he smiled at it, but there's no response, no doubt. He just, tape recorded a message came out, welcome sir, we'll take you to the hall. Now this gentleman had a very different problem altogether. He was desperate to use the washroom. उसको वॉशरूम जाना था, हॉल में नहीं जाना था पहले, तो ही वाज वॉकिंग टुवर्ड्स इट, बट द रोबो वाज सेइंग चलो इधर. Just imagine what kind of an embarrassment that man would have faced. Hmm? We were all laughing at it for a time being. Ah, there was a different module altogether. Then there was a button over the robo where you had to switch it off and then say, okay, yaar, mere ko assistance nahi chahiye. Let me go to a washroom. But for those first 1 or 2 minutes, there was a desperation on the face of the concerned person. यार ये नहीं चाहिए मुझे यार, मेरे को सीधा जाने दो वॉशरूम, आज मैं आ जाऊंगा मेरा हॉल पे, राइट? Wherever you are taking me, I will come. But why this thing, right? What it actually means is that we are not thinking about the possibilities where the AI would fail or AI would raise challenge. Importance is to regulate that part in law. If you have better thinking of usability of technology, you must have a better thinking about regulating technology. Now, that is where there is a scope. That is where there is a very big scope in terms of analysis and legal regulation behind artificial intelligence. Just imagine, it's about like, how you use it. And always remember it, there is always a scope for it. We are all from Maharashtra. महाराष्ट्र में एक स्टोरी बहुत फेमस है कि एक आदमी कैप्स बेचता था, टोपी बेचता था, हर मार्केट में जाता था, टोपी बेचता था, वापस आता था, तो जाते जाते हमेशा एक जगह पे रुकता था, मंदिर था वहां पे, बंदर थे पेड़ पे, तो एक दिन बंदरों ने वो सारी टोपियां चुरा ली. व्हाट ही डिड वाज लाइक, एक स्पेयर टोपी लेके 4 बार अपने सर पे डाला और नीचे फेंका, तो monkeys aped him, they threw the caps down. और क्या हुआ उसका नतीजा? They all threw the caps, तो ये कलेक्ट करके आ गया. इतनी स्टोरी आप सबको पता होगी. We all boasted, my generation also had learned that story कि हाँ यार क्या दिमाग था उस बंदे को, उसने बस 4 बार टोपी नीचे फेंका, बंदरों की टोपी फेंक दिया. But it's a modern world altogether. अब वो आदमी पिछले जनरेशन का हो गया, अब उसका बेटा टोपी बेचता है, ये नया स्टोरी है. दिस इज मोर इंटरेस्टिंग. ये आदमी नया बेटा उसका टोपी बेचता है, सेम रास्ते से जाता है, सेम मार्केट प्लेस में जाता है, सेम एक दिन उसके साथ भी इंसिडेंस होता है, बट ही इज कूल. व्हाई इज कूल? बिकॉज ही इज नाउ हैविंग द स्किल. क्या स्किल है? उसको पता है कि जब टोपी बंदर चुरा लेता है तो क्या करना है. ही पुट्स द हैट ऑन द head, throws it 3 or 4 times angrily and waits that the monkeys will throw it. उसके पास स्किल है, उसने यूज किया सॉल्यूशन को, प्रॉब्लम को सॉल्व करने का. बट एक बंदर नीचे आया, बोला बे हमको भी बाप है. नाउ द प्रॉब्लम इज चेंज्ड. You see, there is a difference. What if your skill does not match with the technical problem that is coming up tomorrow? Is the question. We might be skilled, but are we able to use the skill at a right point of time? When to use the skill, when to use the law, when to regulate the skill, when to regulate the technology is a pivotal challenge. There is a bright future to all of us as lawyers, because there is too much of scope of technological wrongs that might be coming in. But the question that remains is, as a lawyer, as a law student, are we equipped with the technology as well as the possibility of using of that legal mechanism or legal analysis to come out with the solution? If we are not, we will still be at bay. We will not be in a position to address any issue. If we are more open to understand the technology and then use it, and probably then also analyze it, that how we can support it together with the legal mechanism. Nothing like us. Like, people would come and ask you for the solutions. So this is what has happened. What do I do? So in my opinion, the opportunity lies in 3 to 4 different mechanisms. First and foremost, just the last segment of my session. First and foremost, when there is an existing or upcoming set of technology, analyze what are the challenges to it. Either by law or by contract or by agreement or by adjustment, are we in a position to give solutions in law to those kind of situations? Number 2, when the make is unregulated, the challenge is ultra tech. I always say this, when the making of any device is unregulated, the challenge is ultra tech. Why? Because you're not able to contain it. So what is allowed and what is not allowed has to be decided right in front, right beforehand, before you actually make it. मगर गवर्नमेंट भी कितना होशियार होता है, when they realize that cryptocurrency cannot be regulated, should not be regulated, otherwise it will be a burden on government, they said highly unregulated. Ja, kuch bhi karo, you are at your own risk. If tomorrow a technology is given in your hand and said that you use it as per your wish and as per your will, but if something goes wrong, don't come to us. It will be a very difficult proposition. Always remember this. The second segment is knowing the technology as well as understanding the nuances of technology and then regulating it. First was blunt, it was analysis. Second was actual utility and then seeing it, regulating it. Third one is basically rooted together with the execution. I know that there is a space machine, there is a space craft that we can all create. The question is, can a rickshaw driver be allowed to run it? Can a pilot be allowed to do it? Or any individual like you and me who might be just having a four-wheeler ka ya fir two-wheeler ka license is allowed to use it? Right? We have to segment it in terms of rules regarding execution. Fourth fragment where the opportunity lies is the transformation. Why I said transformation? That what we were using in the past is now getting converted into the future. So that conversion or that transformation, whether it is wanted, unwanted, legally tenable, not tenable, these kind of questions would come. So are we legally capable of addressing those things, either in the form of intellectual property or in the form of any other thing? आपको पता है पेटेंट एक ऐसा सब्जेक्ट मैटर है इंटेलेक्चुअल प्रॉपर्टी where there is a very clear cut dissection of improvement. Patent of improvement, patent of addition होता है क्या? होता है. I have improvised, substantially changed the patented subject matter. हाँ, mere admixture is not patentable. Color बदल दिया, not patentable. It should be substantial improvisation. Correct? तो टेक्नोलॉजी भी सब्सटेंशियल इंप्रोवाइजेशन होगी. तो जहां जहां सब्सटेंशियल इंप्रोवाइजेशन होगा, wherever there is a possibility of transformation, there would be a requirement of legal rights. There would be a requirement of legal framework. That is what exactly I mean as transformational legal understanding. And last but not the least is a futuristic analysis and mandates, which is a pre-date regulation in my opinion. It's like, pre-use regulation. It's like, that something is coming up. If you're not able to put the things on pen and paper, you probably miss out. There is a very famous line in management, that if you fail to plan, you are planning to fail. I repeat it. If you fail to plan, you are planning to fail. That is where it is. If you are able to generate the futuristic emphasis, this might happen, things would be totally different. Probably 99 out of 100 times you might fail miserably while you are writing something prospective. But even if you succeed once, that will make and create you what you cannot even imagine. Now, these are 4 or 5 areas, right from execution to transformation to legal analysis to creation of law to anticipate and then respond, and obviously challenging it in terms of legal regulation, are the areas where I think the lawyers have a brilliant future. I was never in doubt when I started doing my PhD in information technology law. I knew it that somehow it's a futuristic understanding. That this might not help me today, but it might help me in future. Actually, it is helping me too much, right? Same way, same understanding. Please try and build up the core analysis of law existing for the most modern technology in India today, and just try and compare it with futuristic understandings. If you are able to give that, probably there might be individuals and companies who might approach you and say, हमारे पास ये टेक्नोलॉजी है, अब लीगल साइड आप बताओ, how do we go forward? And then comes the issue, that how do we become the persons who can guide the society at large, or even for that matter legislature, to say सर यहाँ पे लॉ ये नहीं है, या फिर एब्सेंस ऑफ लॉ है, अब नाउ आई एम सजेस्टिंग अ पीस ऑफ लॉ, please adopt it, this might sort majority of your problems. If these are the common balances that we follow, the world would be altogether a different place, right? I think within the span of this last 55 minutes or 60 minutes or so, I tried to encapsulate you with those kind of few fragments which I thought that are important when you look at IP, when you look at artificial intelligence. Uh, I don't know whether it might give you a holistic understanding or not, because it's a very uh, fundamentally a distinct subject matter altogether. But yes, as I said, must congratulate those who have selected this topic. Yes, there can be multiple examples which I would have given, but what I thought was, you being all law students, it is necessary to see the IP protection as well as the futuristic approaches towards the law, because there is no existing setup of legal framework yet in terms of completeness of artificial intelligence. So initially, what we are doing, like as lawyers or as law students, is segmenting the AI. The one which is actually working as a servant, and the other which is having a machine learning. The challenge is not with servants. The challenging is with machine learning. वो independent होता जाएगा तो challenge देगा. So those segmentations I thought are very important, and definitely it would be a challenge for the IP protectors if you are looking at it, because what basically I feel is that the biggest threat of IP is IP. The biggest threat for intellectual property is information technology. Naturally, we are in the most advanced phase of transformation from IT to AI. Hmm? Information technology से हम जा कहाँ रहे हैं, artificial intelligence की तरफ, which is even more harder to grasp. So naturally, there would be a huge challenge for intellectual property rights, and that's the reason why we need that balance. We need that knowledgeable discourse towards understanding what AI is and understanding what IP is, and just trying to bridge the gap between the two, or trying to have that balance in terms of existence of both intellectual property as well as AI as well as information technology. So with that level of discourse, I, Advocate Dr. Swapnil Bangali, I sign off. Thank you so much for this opportunity, and it was wonderful discussing the most contemporary subject matter uh, of this time. Thank you. Thank you so much. If there are any questions, I'll be happy to address. Thank you.
Good afternoon, sir.
Dr.
It has been a very informative session. From the student's point of view, I have some question regarding AI. We have observed that many students are using AI softwares for their research on for their assignments.
Correct.
What precautions should students take while using AI softwares?
Well, two things are always important. When you see, when I said that the skill of using a device is always important, but at the same point of time, when you say that you are using it for research, I personally would not be a keen advisor to say that you should do something like that. See, taking an assistance is one thing, getting dependent on it would be another. We are living in the world, please remember this, we are living in the world where the former president of United States of America, Barack Obama, he was also facing the music post the publication of a book which was part and parcel of his PhD. Why? Because they said एक पूरा का पूरा एरिया उसके पीएचडी का is part and parcel of plagiarized material. Just imagine any kind of intellectual property that you create, any kind of knowledge that you create today is not something which is going to be there with you only for that momentary period. It will be tagged to you forever. Correct? So suppose I write an article. So let's take an example. I wrote an article in 2008. अब 2008 में 15 साल पहले मेरी समझ थोड़ी कम होगी, मेरी मेच्योरिटी कम होगी. आई मे नॉट बी नेसेसरीली एज इंटेलेक्चुअली स्ट्रांग एज आई एम टुडे. अब मैंने उसको इंटरनेट पे पब्लिश कर दिया. with probably the least formative research that I could have done in the past. अब आज के दिन वो आर्टिकल मैंने लिखा हुआ भी मुझे अच्छा नहीं लग रहा, आई एम नॉट लाइकिंग इट बिकॉज इट्स कंटेंट वाइज वेरी शैलो. तो कैन आई से दैट इट इज समथिंग दैट हाँ दिस मैन हैज रिटन सो अगली ना क्या लिखते बंगाली सर. See, that is going to happen. So please understand this. If you are using AI softwares just for the purposes of research, it might give you a momentary understanding of, or rather a momentary pleasure of just having creation of knowledge. But will it actually suffice the purpose of actual research? The answer is no. What will happen in due course of time is that you will be completely dependent on the device to research. And you know what is the hard time for the individual? The hard time of the individual is when he is not given the opportunity for the device control, but to solve the problem. Every time depending on any device without having a hands-on experience on solving the problem, I don't think it will work. See, we are living in a very beautiful profession. We like individuals, lawyers. क्यों पता है? We and doctors we practice. Why we practice? Because we are not perfect. Hmm? Experience हमको बनाता है. Hmm? Doctor doesn't say patient मेरी वजह से मरा है. Lawyer बोलता नहीं है we have lost the case because of me. Huh? It's the experience, right? It's all by learning. So naturally, in my opinion, if you are completely dependent on research, dependent on AI and ChatGPT for research, it will kill your skill. छोटा सा example. Darwin once said, you stop using one of your skills, your body part will shrink. हमने पूंछ का इस्तेमाल बंद कर दिया, पूंछ गायब हो गई, हम बंदर से इंसान हो गए. Think ahead of time. We, for last 10 to 15 years, have been rampantly using devices to type. अब हमारा हस्ताक्षर खराब हो चुका है. We are not having good handwriting anymore. It's a skill lost, right? फिर कहाँ गए वो लोग जो बोलते थे किसी के हस्ताक्षर से उसका कैरेक्टर पता चलता है, मतलब हम सब गंदे कैरेक्टर के. इट माइट नॉट बी रिलेवेंट बट जस्ट थिंक ओवर इट. इफ यू आर ट्रूली डिपेंडेंट ओनली ऑन द डिवाइस ऑफ अनदर क्रिएशन माइट नॉट गिव यू दैट विजडम दैट इज रिक्वायर्ड. एक अजीब सा कुछ डायलॉग है मैनेजमेंट का, एक फंडा भी था ना, वेयर दे हैड सेड दिस, you cannot become wise by somebody else's knowledge or something like that. That might happen. I hope I satisfied with the your answer. Like, I mean, whatever I answered probably is in sync with what you are actually trying to ask. Yes, please.
Thank you, sir, for your enlightening us about artificial intelligence, its applicability, and legal challenges. Thereof, it will encourage us to do insightful research on AI. Now, I request our Assistant Professor Suryavanshi ma'am to extend a vote of thanks to our guest.
Thank you.
Good afternoon to all. Ismailsaheb Mulla Law College, Satara, today organizes one-day interlead collegiate online workshop on intellectual property rights and AI, opportunities and challenges. For this workshop, with us, Dr. Swapnil Bengali, Director, Center of ICT and Law, Maharashtra National Law University, Mumbai. Sir told us about AI, intellectual property rights, then whatever the challenges and opportunities in this AI. Sir also told us about the chat GPT writing, the opportunities and challenges in which sir told us about what we have to do, that is regarding the futuristic analysis, which is very important point, as well as the planning and anticipation and respond also. Sir told us about how to try to build up the core analysis of law, and it is necessary to compare it with the futuristic analysis. Thank you to Dr. Swapnil Bengali sir. Instead of his very busy schedule, sir spent a lot of time with us. Thank you to sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank
I'm
you.
also thankful to our principal, Dr. D.P. Patil Madam, as well as uh, the coordinator of the Lead College program, Mr. P.D. Zadhu sir, as well as Advocate Amit Dravid sir. I'm also thankful to all the Lead College participants who participate in this online workshop from other colleges with their teachers and students. I'm also thankful to our all teaching and non-teaching staff for organizing this workshop. Thank you. Thank you to one and all.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Over to you, Dravid, sir.